Okay, so I'm going to be restringing a head graphene radical touch racket, which is the racket of another coach I work with, Ray. He's close to 70, he's a thin man, and he's only using it for coaching, so he wants quite a soft touch, he's indicated, so I'll be going fairly low tension. So the recommended tension for this racket is 48 to 57. I'm going to be using a soft copolyester string, which is very durable. So I'm going to go on the lower side to give him a nice soft feel and not too high tension, not too stiff. I think I will go 52 mains and 50 crosses, and I will be pre-stretching the strings, even though that's not absolutely necessary with copolyester. I will pre-stretch them a little bit, and I will also put a new grip on it and clean up his racket for him. I'll be cutting the strings out, and then I usually mark the location on the racket where there's a cross, in this case just here. As you can see, I mark where there's a cross so that I don't accidentally string a mains there, so I'll mark that, and I'll just remove the strings now. I'll cut them out, and I will mark out that one location, and I use a drop restringing device, weight drop stringing device, yep, usually end up with a pretty good result. I use a combination of the drop weight and then use the sound on the strings to make sure it hasn't lost a bit of tension through different levels of dropping. So I'm quite careful about how I do it, and usually get pretty good reviews on the results. So I'll just get the racket ready, remove the strings now, and I won't bore you with watching every single stage of the process. I'll just show you bits of it. Okay, so I've marked the last mains and the last crosses just for simplicity. You can also look on the internet to look at the string patterns, but I find that easier. And so I've noted where there may be mains in between crosses, so I won't make any mistakes as to where the mains and crosses go. So now I'm going to just cut out the strings, which are now quite loose due to the breakage higher up. I will cut out the strings, and then I will cut off the correct lengths for mains and crosses. I prefer to do the mains and crosses as a separate restring, so that I can get different tensions on both of those. And I will clean the racket up as well, so you end up with a nice professional job. And the strings I use are thin fire ignition, soft copolyester with a hexagonal cross section. They are a durable string, they are a powerful string, they give reasonable spin, and they're not an expensive string, but I found them to be very effective, and I get a lot of good reports on the string. People can bring me their own strings, but these are particularly well liked. Effectively, they are a copy of the RPM Blast, the Babolat RPM Part Blast. So just remove the rest of those. And then I will cut the 6.1 metres for the mains, and 5.5 for the cross, 5.5 metres, and I generally find that's fine, except for the oversized rackets. You might need a fraction more, but usually that's okay. And then I will be pre-stretching those I also do a little bit of a pre-stretch on the drop weight tensioner as well. So we're nearly there. That's the old string pretty much removed, except for a couple left. That's pretty much it. Okay. That's good. So we've removed the strings. I'll just measure out the lengths of the new string. So I've got blue or black. There's a bit of blue in that racket, so I might actually go for blue. And I've got the distances marked, a metre marked out on my desk here to make it easy. So I might just move the camera so it's a bit more easy to see what I'm doing. Okay. Oh, that's better. All right, so go 1 metre. Metre, 2 metres, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0.1. And that should be fine, and I usually cut the string on a sharp angle so it's easy to thread through the grommets. That's good. So that's the mains. Pop those just there. Get rid of this old string that's all stiffened quite a bit, so it must be fairly old. Or possibly a particularly stiff string. And now we'll measure the crosses. 5.5 metres. The crosses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half. Again, I'll just cut it on an angle. So that's the cross. And I'll just make sure this is threaded through the hole so we can find it again later. Not many, looks like there's probably only one restring left in that reel. Okay, so now I'll pause the video and find a location to do some stretching on a nice round pole. Bit of pre-stretching. I'll turn it on in a second when I find the pole. So I use this nice round pole not to put any excessive pressure on individual points on the strings, to pre-stretch them a little bit. I'll just get the strings ready and show you the process for pre-stretching. So I use a round stick and then wrap the strings around the stick and then just pull with not too much weight, about 20 pound, just to stretch it out a little bit a few times. I'll just show you the technique. And as I said before, I don't think this is crucial in regards to copolyester or polyester. Certainly it is the case with gut, but to do a really good job and to have no doubt at all, to ensure the tension is maintained, pull on it gently, ensure it's tight. A few seconds at a time. So I do that about half a dozen times, and then I'm ready to do it on both sets of strings. And then I'm ready to restring, so we'll stop it there and I'll go start down and you can see what's happening with the restringing. Okay, so we've got the racket mounted in the stringing machine, the manual stringing machine. I've put it in from the top end and ensured the lengths of either end are equidistant, the same length, so that I can start the restringing process. I made sure the clamps were nice and secure. Now we pre-stretched to remove any coil memory, not absolutely essential. I don't think in the soft copolyesters they maintain their tension pretty well. I think with gut, it's really quite a good idea. But some people do ask for pre-stretching if they're high-level players and they feel that it's beneficial. And of course, it does potentially maximise the tension line. So I've put the string in from the top so that when it gets to the grommet close to the throat, it'll be coming through at the right angle. Not at the right angle, but in the right direction. So we'll just get the clamp on the centre string and secure it and lock it. The springs on this particular stringing machine that hold the clamps up are starting to get a little tired. So, and we've set it to the mains for 52 pounds. We're going to get this drop weight into position and let it drop, and hopefully it goes horizontal roughly. It ends up being the correct tension. And as I said, I use sound as well in the stringing process. I am quite a slow stringer, so I'm not the fastest in the world, but I am very thorough in and up with a good job. And people have been very, very happy with the restringing I've done, and I am quite often called upon to do a lot of rackets. So we've tightened it up with the clamp and we continue on one side. I'll do a few strings here, I'll continue on, show you a few threads through on the mains, and then I'll pause the camera so we haven't got, literally takes me about 45 minutes, we haven't got 45 minutes of boredom of me threading these through. show you at the end the product, but also show you the mains getting close to completion. We get the 52 pound weight into position, let it drop. That was good. Let's have a listen to the sound. Pretty good, pretty good. So we'll loosen that up a little bit, have another listen. Yep, that sounds pretty good. Loosen her up, clamp her again. Close her at the bottom so she doesn't move, and continue on with the vertical mains. So we're getting down close here through near the throat where I was talking about the grommet, but actually has to come through from the top towards the bottom, coming out through the angle of the throat. If I'd started at the bottom, I would have been in a pickle at this point. So I always make sure that I start at the right, up or down, start either the top or the bottom, depending which way I need to go. And we're getting close to halfway through the mains. Here we go. A little bit of a pre-stretch there, and then we let it drop. So we're making sure the strings are nicely pre-stretched. There's a little clamp on there. We'll take the clamp off now. Just let's listen. If you could hear that, one of them is actually quite loose compared to the others. So usually what I do is lift it a little bit and allow the drop weight to pick up the tension, so we end up with a nice even tension that way. With the electronic machines, I don't think you have that issue, but I don't have the benefit of a $10,000 electronic machine. And I'll do one more, and then I might go through until I'm tying it off. Now I have marked off the one crossed in the middle here, so that I didn't end up using a cross grommet. I just find that a little easier. And I also noted the number of mains and the number of crosses so that I don't make any mistakes. Bit of a pre-stretch there. I think I'll do it again. That didn't seem to have the amount of drop that I would have liked. Again, we'll release the clamp, have a little listen. Not too bad. That's pretty good. So then we're going to clamp it. It's the last of the mains. And we're going to clamp the mains on the far side and tie it off using the appropriate process for tying off. It actually has a mark to indicate to you around one grommet where to tie off, so that's handy. What I'll do is tie this one off, and then I'll continue with the mains and turn the camera on, the video on again near the end, so you can see the final product on the mains. Then I'll show you the start of the crosses and do the same at the end, so we haven't got too long a video. Okay, so we're going to tie this off with the appropriate knot so that you can get leverage and tighten her up. So we can lever it and tighten take up the slack really well. There's my pliers. I generally wrap it around like that so I can get a good grip on it and tighten it up really well. Okay, that's good. So then I trim it off with my small pliers with the little cutting edges and cut it close to the knot, and that's pretty good. Okay, so I'll turn it off and continue on with the mains to finish it and show you the end product. Okay, so as you can see, I've threaded through and drop weighted to 52 pounds, most of the mains, except for the last one that I'm about to thread through, which I'll then have to tie off. I'll just put the camera back on the table and start again so you can see me finish. Alright, so I'm on the coming up to the last string. We've removed the clamp on one side, we're bringing the last clamping in here, and then we can do the last string for the mains, which I have got demarcated so we don't make a mistake. Bring that in, and we've got a nice even tension throughout all the strings. Based on both the drop weight measurement as well as my own sound process, which evens it out really nicely and avoids some low tension strings in different places. Okay, so we just drop weight on this last one. Have to get it in the right position, otherwise it won't drop weight. Possibly not quite significant enough, as in the weight actually doing its job. That's better. So I'll drop down a little bit more, let that loose, and I'll show you the sound quality that I've been talking about. I don't think many stringers do this, but it's I have found it to be quite effective. So the middle, in a couple of places, is a little bit softer. So there, I can feel the tension's a little less. So I just pull up the tension a little bit, just to bring in that extra pound or two. And now we've got a nice even stretch across all the strings. I think it avoids any errors or bad stringing. I'll just tighten that last clamp, on the very last mains clamp, and we can release the tension now and tie her off. So I'll tie her off and then we'll be right to just checking here, crossing mains, get where they're tied off at the right spot. Some of the grommets can be very tight to push through when you're doing two strings into the one grommet. It's just the design of the rackets can make it very difficult. But this one's pretty good. It was not difficult to get that second string through, which you would expect from a tie point, but nonetheless some rackets are a little bit awkward. So initially tighten it by hand using the extra loop, and then, as I did before, I'm going to wrap the string. I do have a little bit left over. I probably had about 3/4 of a metre left over all told, which isn't too bad. This is a fairly small head in this racket. So we just tighten that, pull and stretch, tighten, pull and then pull back, and then you can just cut off the excess. And that's looking good. And the blue strings do match the colour of the racket too, which is great. So there we go, we've done half of it. I do find the crosses a little bit more annoying. You have to go in and out, I use my fingers as a guide. and I also double check the ends to make and feel across it with my fingers to make sure I haven't gone over twice or under twice. You've got to get an even spread. So I'll pause it there and then I'll start the crosses, which I've got ready here, 5.5 metres. And then generally what I do after I've finished stringing it is I take it out, I put a new grip on it, I put a dampener on it if there isn't a dampener, if the person has asked for a dampener, and I clean up the racket with a little bit of Mr. Sheen, which makes it look a lot, it cleans it as well as makes it look much more presentable, so it looks like a really professional job. So I'll stop the video there and I'll start it again when we're doing the crosses. Okay, so we now have the crosses to do, and I'll set the drop weight to 50 pounds. And thread the first one through. I usually use my fingers to just feel the up and down. Now we look for the tie point. Cut it off nice and tight, snug, so the piece of plastic doesn't jab anyone in the finger. Bit of nylon, I should say, copolyester. And then clamp her off and continue on in the same process doing the crosses. Anymore. They were only there just to be double check. So as you do the crosses, obviously you need to make sure you're going over when on the previous main string when you were under on the one below. The first few racks I strung, I did probably make one or two errors because I wasn't aware that it was a potential pitfall. So you could, if you're not really careful, end up with some not corresponding. So we'll just double check. Over, under, and I double check the mains That's good. And I will continue. I'll put one more through and then I will continue. I'll do the rest off camera and just bring you back online again. This is my most time consuming part, I'm most slow at this. I must admit I'm getting a little bit quicker at it, but boy, I was really slow to begin with. So I'm at the third cross now. Double check again, under, over, yep, there. Not inconsistent with each other. That's good. Just do the drop weight. I usually just adjust the crosses a little bit to ensure the weight drops nicely. Okay, so we're at the third one. I'll clamp it off and I will continue up towards the end and bring the camera back online. Okay, so we've got to the end of the restringing process very nearly. I'm on to the very last cross. I've clamped it off, tensioned it up to 50 pound, and we're just going to thread through the last one. And once I've cleaned up the racket at the end and put a new grip on it, I'll show you the finished product. So we'll just make sure again that we get the threading up and down correctly. I've got a friend who plays tennis who used to restring at the central area of the domain. That's the big tennis centre in Hobart, and he was so much quicker than me from what he was describing. He could do a racket in about 20 minutes. I find that quite extraordinary, but I guess some people are quicker than others. Okay, so that's the last one pulled through. Just pull it through a bit. We'll tie it off. After I tension it, double check again. Yep, that's good. Put the tension on with the clamp still in place so the others don't loosen up. Need to get the drop weight to do its job properly. A bit harder on the last string. There's not much length. Okay. I think the manual machines obviously slow things down quite a bit as well. There we go. It's nice and tight. Okay, so we'll take the clamp off the second last string, move it up to the last string, the clamp up to the last string, and then we'll tie it off at the final cross tie. Just checking to see which one is the mains and the cross, double checking it's got the right one here. Okay, so it is quite good when you reach the end of it. Feels satisfying that you've done a good job, and you've got a nice polished product at the end of it. Good tension, good result for the player. Usually they find these strings are a little better than the ones they've had before, if not a lot better. As before, I do it by hand initially, using the second loop, and we'll tighten it really well using the pliers, using the pull and tug system. Okay, so I think that's pretty good, and we're pretty much finished. I'll just clean it up off camera with a bit of Mr. Sheen, put a new grip on it, and I'll show you the final product. Flip it off, nice and snug, it's good. Okay, so here we have the final product, and it looks $1,000,000 compared to how it looked before. A really good restring with a good racket with a good string, which will give good durability and good feel, a good spin, and a nice new grip, as well as a dampener, and polished up to give it a professional look. So I know Ray will be very happy with that, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.